Good evening and welcome to UP News. We're here with Representative Buffie McFadden from the state of Colorado and her guest Mike Schnobrick. Guys, welcome to the show. Mike?
Glad to be here, Wade.
Buffie?
Yeah, Wade. Very happy to be back at UP News and want to make sure everybody knows that Mike Schnobrick is the legislative liaison for the American Federation of Government Employees Council Prison Locals number 1302 out at Supermax, most commonly known as Supermax, also known as the administrative maximum in the Bureau of Prison System.
It's quite a mouthful.
Yeah, we were talking today at the Capitol. As everybody knows, the Attorney General Alberto Gonzalez resigned, and he was out here visiting the prisons, the Supermax prison, where we host some of the most dangerous terrorists in the world. He left office. I want to ask you one basic question. Did Alberto Gonzalez leave office without fulfilling his promise to the state of Colorado and to the Supermax prison?
And the way I feel about it, no, I don't believe he did. When he came to visit us in February, he said that there were problems, but that they were going to be fixed. And for a short time frame, they actually were taken care of. However, by doing so, that we created problems elsewhere within the system. And since then, no, now we are talking about being right back to where we were when we first got started on this problem.
We were talking today, the reporters were asking about statistical comparisons and numbers and how to prove whether the drop in staff is causing a statistical increase in violence or problems with prison inmates. Why are statistics misleading on this issue?
Wade, the problem with statistics is that prison systems are very, very complicated organizations. There are so many different variables that go into why a prison is safe and why a prison isn't safe, that to try to reduce it down to just simple numbers is a very big injustice to the whole process. For example, are 5 correctional officers and a chaplain more safe than, say, 3 correctional officers, a counselor, and a chaplain? Those are kind of things that have to be determined through a process of long working together with the inmate population, looking at how things are effective in the way that we do things, and trying to develop a system that's going to be effective and efficient. To simply say, well, you need 10 officers or 5 officers is not really what we want to be talking about.
Right. Representative McFadden, when we talked earlier this year, there was some concern about the SCAP money coming from the federal government to the state of Colorado to pay for some of the federal prison budget. To date, has that happened?
SCAP funding is actually the funding that the federal government promised the state of Colorado and county jails in Colorado to house criminal illegal aliens.
Oh, okay.
Those are criminal illegal aliens that have done at least 4 consecutive days of time in either a jail or a state prison. To my knowledge, there hasn't been a single state that's received their SCAP funding this year to actually do the federal government's job. The state and the county governments are doing that. We were supposed to receive about 10 cents on the dollar to this date for 2006. Not a single state, to my knowledge, has received that funding. I did tell then Attorney General Alberto Gonzalez when he was in Colorado in February that we should sue him for the money. Of course, he said we shouldn't. We'd just like to be paid.
Yeah. So we got 2 major issues with the Attorney General leaving office. One is the states are not getting their money for SCAP for illegal immigrants that are in county jails. The other part is the continued defunding or underfunding of prison guards, prison correctional officers for our Supermax and our federal correctional facilities. What would you guys like to see the next Attorney General do if you had a wish list of what his responsibilities would encompass?
Right now, the interim Attorney General is Paul Clement, and I think it would be wise for the President of the United States to look at what's happening at Supermax. We do need more staff, and we also need to make sure we have enough staff when we have lag time between someone who's retired or someone who's left the Bureau of Prisons working at the ADX and a new hire has come on. There's a gap there between, it could be up to 6 months sometimes between the actual hiring and training. So when a post, it takes at least 3 correctional officers to do the work on any housing unit. When you don't have 3 on a housing unit, the work doesn't get done. The inmates get very difficult, and basically anybody who's been sentenced to do time at Supermax knows that they're going to die in Supermax. So there's really nothing to lose if they attack a correctional officer or correctional staff within that facility. I would like to see the president and the new attorney and the interim attorney general come out and see Supermax. But also in the meantime, I think there needs to be a call on retired Bureau of Prison Workers, find enough that want to come to Florence in the meantime to fill that gap between we actually get new staffing in there to fill those gaps and the crisis we're having right now. Otherwise, I don't know where we would get qualified staff to come into the facility, but from the Bureau itself. And I know Mike has been calling for a congressional field hearing out to Supermax too.
Yes, I think probably on my wish list is that I would like to see this problem fixed on a permanent basis. One of the problems that we're seeing here is that it's a political kind of a football that goes on in Congress and between the Bush administration and other priorities that they may have. And so what happens is that depending on which way the wind is blowing this month is whether we're staffing these facilities adequately or not. And I think that in reality what we have to do is we have to say, what is the basic level of safety that we want to maintain, and let's maintain that level of safety, and let's not put that up on the political chopping block. And I think that would be, a major accomplishment for the new attorney